Hey all, welcome back to SJGames Live. It has been a minute. It's been actually a couple weeks. We've been bouncing around conventions. Ben hasn't, but we have. And we couldn't just leave him here on his own painting stuff. We are back. We just got back from Adepticon. Since we're in the mini painting mood, we're kind of wanting to paint a mini. Figured it's time to have another hobby stream.
Yep.
We've got something special here. Actually, this is a fantasy strip mini, but it's not just any fantasy strip mini. Let's get a close up on the turntable. This is actually the Crabman that's going to be included with the FnordCon swag bags.
Do we want him on
we can throw him on the base, sure. Why
Can he
not?
stand on the base?
He should be able to. I had him on the base earlier for a picture.
Oh, he doesn't
You have to kind of press him in a little bit. It's fine.
All right, yeah. As soon as I got him there, I took him off.
Yep.
He's not cooperating, Hunter.
Just lay him on the turntable, Ben.
What do you do?
Just lay him on the turntable, Ben.
Okay. Oh God.
Put the guy on the turntable.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
There we go.
That is the Crabman. It is a 3D. It's one of our STL sculpts. The physical version of which will be available to people that are attending FnordCon. So if you are interested in that, we have FnordCon signups. That's April 29th through May 1st. So the end of next month. Today's the last day of March, so it's pretty much a month away at this point. We are going to be doing a lot of mini paint. Ben's going to be there. We're probably going to do a paint and take type stuff. We're going to be doing a few events that regarding painting.
I don't quite know what exactly they're going to have me doing. Whether there's going to be like a seminar.
We're just going to make it up on the fly. No, we have stuff. We just haven't told Ben about it. He's going to be there for 24 hours painting. No, I'm joking. It'll be fun. But yeah, we're gonna be. That's the mini. We're going to include a little Crabman, and that's what we're going to be painting today. So we're going to dive right in. And you can find the link to the FnordCon signups in the comments below under the streaming. Brandon will throw those links down there for me. He already has because he's so good at his job. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely in a hobby mood. The entire office is kind of in a hobby mood. If you can't see outside, but we've been a lot of us been here all day-to-day painting terrain.
Yeah, it would be cool if you could bring cameras out there. But
some hex terrain. I might go grab some, throw on camera in a bit. But
get some B-roll.
It's really heavy. It's pretty hefty stuff. It's made out of like some kind of sculpting material, dental plaster or something. It's pretty heavy.
Oh, really? I thought this was all 3D printed. Okay.
That stuff's not. That's an old mold that Phil had for some stuff. It's not our stuff. It's just an old mold that he has.
Okay. So I'm not looking at text messages. I'm actually looking at a reference I found on Pinterest. It's probably gonna be kind of hard for you guys to see, but
no, we don't need to show the reference too close.
Well, yeah, you don't need to show. Anyway, we're painting a Crabman. Crabs are another one of those things. There's so many things that you can paint as miniatures and just sort of go, okay, well, I think I kind of know what that looks like. That's a crab, so it's going to be kind of red, maybe a little pink in there. That should do it. But as always, there's a lot more going on. And if you go to some place like Pinterest and put in a color search, or not a color search, but just search for images, and you can see that there's actually a lot more to crabs. So what I did was I just searched for a blue crab. That's one we actually have off in the Gulf Coast around here. They're actually really colorful critters. They have these blue legs with these kind of red highlights, sometimes at the tips of the claws and at the elbows. And then they also have this nice green. So I was going to try to go for that today. This is the first crab I painted. So kind of unlike the cars, when I was in here painting cars, that was something where I've already done, dozens of cars just for the Car Wars Kickstarter and for the studio. This is my first like real attempt to go for, an au naturel kind of Crabman scheme. So
yeah, these are new minis even for us. So yeah, I mean, this isn't one we have floating around generally.
Right, nobody's really painted these before.
Yeah, this is very special for FnordCon.
And so yeah, so how do we get started with this guy? Let's see. Going to start off with kind of a bigger brush. I've got a nice blue here for this blue crab. This is Signar Blue Highlight. And we are going to, so you see me looking at my phone. Again, this is not me being a rude person checking text messages when I should be streaming. I am looking at my reference.
I have to say that a lot during streams. Like, sorry, I'm not looking at messages. This is trying to figure out what green this is.
Oh yeah, like searching for color
names.
So a lot of the blue on the blue crab starts in the middle of the body, so we're going to get that there. This also may be one of those guys where I just go, this is something that I do sometimes, I just add a lot of color and a lot of blending, and then I'll just do a wash on the whole thing. Yeah. And then you kind of go back later, once it's dry, and you're going to go in there, and then just sort of, you can edge highlight and get a pretty good look. You can do stuff pretty fast that way. and get a pretty good result.
Nice. And I'm glad you're going with like a blue instead of red. Because generally, there you do see a lot of crustacean-y type minis. Whenever you see those, a lot of people go with reds and pinks and stuff.
Yeah.
And generally, pink makes a little more sense, but red is almost like you've cooked the crab already.
Yeah, not many of them actually
Come out
are,
red.
Right, yeah, they don't just come out of the water alive and wriggly.
Yeah,
red.
same with lobsters and stuff like that. You see a lot of red lobsters type stuff.
Yeah, and they're really
no.
like a deep kind of brownish purple.
Brownish, purpley, bluish, like turquoisey got going on there.
Yeah, sometimes you get the blue ones.
And I don't know if he's watching, but shout out to our one fallen soldier, Jimmy. Normally he's here looking at comments. Today it's got me and Brandon. Jimmy got COVID at Adepticon.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for him. Luckily we all escaped him, I guess.
Yeah, fortunately I wouldn't be here if Hunter hadn't gotten like multiple negative tests.
Yeah, and Amy took two negative tests. Pretty much everyone but Jimmy, which makes me feel bad. But
I mean, I know 2 other people who came back from Adepticon with COVID, so it's not.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
But if you got to see us at Adepticon, thanks for dropping by. It was a really fun show. We got a lot of Car Wars demos. It was the first time we've actually been able to sell Car Wars publicly.
Oh, that's cool.
Since we shipped the last bit of the international Kickstarter off to its test. It's on its way across the water now. And yeah, we got a few people. We had a lot of people that showed up, demoed, and said, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy the double ace box." So
heck yeah,
that's really exciting. Happy, and got some of them got to play with your cars early on, and then we swapped them out for the lower. We put your cars in the case. So.
Yeah, I saw that. You posted some pictures of demos happening with those cars, and I was like, all right.
We only did it for like 1 or 2 of them.
I'm just gonna say that Hunter probably knows what he's doing, but maybe
no, we didn't. We were just like, I want to play with these cars.
And was that your first Adepticon, Hunter?
Yeah, it was my first one. You said it was a really fun show, and it ended up being a great show. It was really fun.
Well, if your thing is minis, it's kind of the show.
Yeah, I'd say like Gen Con is the board game show, and for me now, Adepticon is like the mini show. It's not as big as Gen Con, but it's event-wise so big because there's like a lot of big tournaments that happen there, and there's enough booths. There's a lot of people there. We were there. James Workshop was there. There's a lot of other mini companies. I know I bought not a bunch. I got a decent amount of minis though, so I had a fun time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
A lot of great painters.
If you're a minis guy, that is your show.
Yeah, especially
Gen
mini
Con
painters
has the minis stuff, but there's a lot more that can kind of get in the way. So if you're just obsessed with minis, I think Adepticon.
It's there's some inspiring moments because they have the Golden Demon there.
Yeah.
And walking through the Golden Demon cases where they have essentially the Golden Demon is Games Workshop's first party painting competition, like their big painting competition. And it's a real high honor to win a Golden Demon essentially.
Yeah, it is.
And
I don't know if I'll ever be able to pull that off.
I think you'd actually be able to win a Golden Demon.
Do you? Did you look at those pictures?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't just look at the pictures. I physically looked at the models. That's what I was gonna say. Is they have them all in glass cases there, and I actually got to walk through, and the glass cases were open 24 hours. So pretty much what happened is late at night I was like wandering downstairs because there's also a booth there that sold bits that's open 24 hours or that like
the
loose
one that's outside.
Yeah, so I would go down there and I'd dig through bins of miniatures at like 1 a.m.
Yeah,
and then after I was done
always
there,
a wild trip. Like you go out with buddies, have some drinks, and then come in at like 1 a.m. and there's still a person like working there.
Oh, they're there literally 24/7.
Just like drunkenly dig through.
I don't drink. I just look like an idiot. I was sitting like cross-legged on the floor with the plastic bins, just like digging through it like I was digging through Legos.
You can always pretend to be drunk. It's cool. I won't tell.
But thanks. But yeah, then I went up to the Golden Demon glass cases and walked through. It's inspiring. There's
I don't mean to name drop, but I do know a guy who won 2. Steven Garcia is an Austin local.
Oh, cool.
It's entirely possible you may have met him and not known.
Steven Garcia, is that Goat Boy?
No.
Okay.
I shouldn't have responded that way, but no, it is not Goat Boy.
I just know him.
Goat Boy, he's kind of more in my category. He likes painting lots of armies. He's much more interested in getting a bunch of armies painted. Which is kind of my thing, because I met Steven, easily 12 years ago, maybe more, just playing War Machine. And at that time, he was about as good a painter as I was. And now I have no idea if I was to, take the time to
I think
spend 100 hours and try to
That's
put
what I'm
100
saying.
hours into a mini like that. Could I do it?
Here's the thing.
Because part of the patience is part of the skill.
Yes. think if you were able to actually put the time in, you would definitely be able to do it. So that's part of it. So and folks, if you have any questions, I know we're kind of just rambling here while he paints, but that's
We
kind
are
of like
rambling. I hope
that's
we're
kind of how
creating
these
interesting content.
that's how this goes. We kind of just talk hobby stuff. That's the whole point of these streams.
Yep.
Show you guys a fun mini, show Ben's incredible technical skills, and then or if I'm painting, show you how to do something fast, and then talk about stuff. But if you have any questions, please drop them. Brandon's looking at chat. I'm also here. So, we could answer if you have a hobby question. Ben's a great person to ask. I got a question here from Chris Reddick. Any plans on expansions for Rick and Morty Munchkin? As far as I know, no expansions for that. That's a game from the op though. They may have different ideas. I don't 100% know, but I don't believe so. Most of the time, if the op does it one, it's mostly been one and done. There's been a few exceptions like Marvel. I believe Adventure Time got an expansion.
Oh, did it?
I believe so. I think it did. I might be wrong, but there's a couple of exceptions, but generally it's all encompassed. It's just one set generally. So I can't speak for them. I haven't seen that pop up in the plans recently though. So I can't say never, but currently not one that they have planned as far as I know. But yeah, it's it was. I think if you put the hours in, and what I was going to get at there is Ben is we talk about his technical ability. Ben is a professional mini painter. Like he gets paid for his work. He's not just commission. Like he gets paid to do stuff for companies because he's so good. But it is like he said, a very specific patience. Like you have to be willing to put the hours in on a Golden Demon, like a competition piece, because they look at everything. Every stroke makes a difference, kind of.
Yep.
So
and they hold them upside down, and then you have to shade every bit of the underside. Just if
there's any black showing through, no.
Yep.
No, you can't do any shortcuts. It's all there. The winner this year was actually really surprising. Did you see that, Ben?
I did.
It was just one of the. So again, it's a that one. The Golden Demon in particular. There are other painting competitions. Golden Demon is a Games Workshop one, so it's Games Workshop minis, and it was a skink from one of the Underworld's war bands, and it's usually they're kind of more elaborate, I'd say, for winners. And this year it was not a positive or negative way. It was just a simple miniature, and I thought that was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, there weren't that many. Like you see a ton of really in the past. You've seen a ton of elaborate conversions, and I think at some point somebody on the Games Workshop team must have gone like, okay, we don't want people. We want to make sure they're at least painting models that people can buy, because there were a few occasions where the winners would actually just be almost fully scratch built.
Yeah, no,
it's like look at it like what even is that? And, oh well, the guy just sculpted the whole thing by hand.
They've started separating that stuff out a lot more because of that. I feel like because there are competitions that are doing like you have to sculpt or you're gonna lose.
Well, yeah, that's the crystal brush now.
Yeah, well, is
Crystal Brush?
Is it even still around?
Sculpted.
No, I heard the crystal brush.
Actually, I had be its own category.
It's in some places it's an open category.
I had meant to ask you if the crystal brush should even happen.
So no, actually, I talked to someone there. Funnily enough, a friend I've met online here in Austin, I actually met in person, but in Chicago for the first time. Oh. And I was talking to them. He was with a bunch of other painters because I got I ended up somehow in the painting area with a bunch of good painters, and I was like, "Hello, I paint poorly. Hello, I paint poorly," shaking hands. But they told me the crystal brush no longer exists.
I'm not surprised.
Of it.
So it was a weird thing for Cool Mini not to put so much cash into when most of their focus is on board games these days.
Yeah. A couple things. I'm confused because of using hand instead of. This isn't a question. I'm confused using hand instead of wet palette.
We get one of those every episode.
Welcome to your first hobby stream with Ben. That is his wet palette. We're not going to go down the wet palette route. We've already talked about it. But yes, he uses his hand as his palette, and it works out. He likes it's his thing. Do you promise me? Yes, this mini has been primed. It's like kind of a grayish greenish color.
Yeah.
It's just a regular kind of
like an army camo.
Yeah, like an army camo primer type thing. Eric did. I don't know what color the primer was though.
Nope, me neither.
But it was primed. We're actually they're still out there painting terrain right now. Phil and Eric and everybody are. We did a bunch of purple today. Purple tiles for FnordCon.
Why purple? Just out of curiosity.
That's just what Phil wanted to do. Wanted to make it look like Snake Mountain from He-Man.
Snake Mountain.
Oh, okay. Weird.
I like it.
But cool.
No, it's
I
different.
mean,
It's nice.
it beats just gray.
Exactly. That I think it's gonna
Is
look
it?
cool on a demo table. It will feel more special. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to forget just a bunch of gray stones, but if it's going to be
Mhm.
all cool and purple and pink,
So yeah, if you're gonna be at FnordCon, we'll be running games on that cool, colorful terrain. Actually, that's why we're painting it up right now. We're going to be doing a lot of FnordCon related kind of stuff coming up. So if you have the opportunity, it'll be fun. We're going to have some fun at that show. It's a light time. It's a fun time. It's not a super crammed convention center. You're not having to like shoulder to shoulder a lot of people. You pretty much get time to hang out, play a bunch of games you enjoy, maybe do some hobby stuff you like, and actually meet people like Steve and John Kvalog and stuff like that. It won't be like people mobbing him all the time, essentially, like it is at Gen Con.
because as cool as he is, but he's in the same place the whole weekend.
Yeah.
You know, he starts to just sort of
You'll get
become
tired of
a
seeing
normal
Steve
guy.
at that point. He'll just be, he'll walk by like, Steve, get out of the way. I'm sorry, I'm getting a coffee.
So does anybody include Crabmen in their TFT adventures? If anybody's watching who plays TFT shorthand, being shorthand for the fantasy trip, which is the game that these guys are for.
I'm actually intrigued. I'm a big fan of the underwater stuff. I haven't done a lot of TFT games myself, but
That's true.
I'm a real big fan of I've told you before, the Octopus Warriors are like my favorite thing that we have in that game.
Yep, and there's
And they're very unique.
There's plenty of other stuff too for underwater. There's
Mhm.
well, these guys obviously, and there's Uncle Teeth, and the Nest, which are similar sort of plesiosaur creatures.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the underwater style stuff. That's some of my favorite stuff. Plus, I actually talked to some painters over the weekend. I'm going to be, maybe see some of our STLs popping up on those channels as well.
Oh, that'd be cool.
See what they take on those because
Were you handing people STLs that you wanted?
no,
to
I
go around
need
the con?
I need to email them some stuff, but I want to see some different takes on it because it'll
Helps
be
if you can
interesting to
put 'em
take
right
some.
in their hand.
Well, it also helps to that because they may not have played the fantasy trip before.
Right.
But these monsters can work in lots of different settings. That's the best part. So even if you're not a fan of the fantasy trip, maybe if you play GURPS, you play Dungeon Fantasy or something like that. I know a lot of people are backed the Douglas Cole's Nordland stuff. His whole series that we talked about. We did an interview with him on SJGames Live actually. If you're a fan of his settings, I'm sure there's a lot of things you can do. Plus, there's always conversions. That's the fun part. Doing some different stuff with these types of minis.
And there are for the gamers, there are lots of mini agnostic rule systems out there
Yes.
for just skirmish games here and there.
We actually ran into a lot of that at Adepticon. There's a lot of people like kind of indie publishers on the side that didn't have booths that were just kind of like running demos of their stuff. Lots of cool stuff. I know on the mini painting side that run indie stuff like Rain in, I think it's called Rain. Pardon my French. Rain in Hell, I believe is what the name of the game
Oh, the one
is.
that the Gorilla Minis guys did?
Not it's him and Uncle Adam from
Uncle Adam.
yeah, it's what's his channel called?
Tabletop Minions.
Tabletop Minions. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Tabletop Minions, and I think Vince Venturella. It's him and Vince Venturella are doing that one. Maybe the Gorilla Miniatures guy too, Ash. I can't remember.
He
but
did
he's doing a
like,
few.
Mech Warrior game and a zombie
That's another
game.
thing I saw. He's doing a new one as well. They're doing this magazine that's available through Drive-Thru RPG called Blaster, and it's up to issue 4. And in each issue, there's like multiple indie miniature rule game sets that are pretty much agnostic. But there are companies now making minis for them, like Black Site Miniatures and stuff like that. So.
I'm curious to check them all out because the minis games, just the preference of what people want in them is just so all over the scale because you have games like Frostgrave where the system's really basic and you just roll a d20 for like almost everything, and people love that. And then you have like on the completely opposite side of the spectrum, you have like Malifaux, which every model has like 12 different rules, and there's just like a whole symphony of insane interactions.
And the indie world is expanding so much. Like companies in Texas, even with us, Black Site Creative is a company up in Amarillo, I think, that's doing indie miniatures games. Like I have one of them called Don't Look Back. It's a horror game. It's a co-op horror game where it's essentially like horror tropes from the 80s integrated into a cooperative
Oh yeah, I saw you
tabletop game.
painting stuff.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
They also do one called Lunar, which is like NASA versus USSR versus other like space programs in actual like astronaut suits on the moon. There's one they do that's like a alien style thing. There's another one they're doing that's like they actually are doing minis for the guy who has Relic Blade for Sludge, which is another mini set from that Blaster magazine that I was talking about. Which is Sludge is like historical minis in a fantasy setting where war is hell and war is bad. It's like
Well, it's like black powder rank and file fantasy.
kind of
right?
on round bases, and it's an anti-war war game because like as you cause carnage, people don't want to fight. It's interesting. It's very artsy. I like it.
Huh.
But I like that. I like that with indie miniature games and with printable minis, which is kind of we still do traditional minis. Obviously, we did Car Wars with plastics, and we're going to have some more of that stuff coming out. We've done Ogre miniature sets. If you haven't checked those out in the past, we're up to set 4 is the next one up, and we are finalizing stuff with that set to do a project. But we have also gone in the STL frame, and now that we're in that realm, we can do a little bit more different stuff too. We're able to make minis for like the Fantasy Trip, which technically doesn't need minis, but it's fun to try minis out with it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a line that we would have devoted like a full plastic range to sell. But when you're dealing with 3D prints, we can do that because it's worth the investment in that realm.
All right. I don't know how well you guys can see him, but we've got a lot of color on him.
We could throw it on the turntable if you want to.
Okay.
Show like a median kind of where he's at.
Yeah.
He is brightened
got a
up
nice
quite a
white
bit.
crab underbelly.
Yeah, he's.
So thinking it might be time to put a wash on him, and then maybe I could try something else with a different crab man because we still got
I'm
a lot
liking
of
the
time
claws. Yeah. Wow, man, you've only been working on it for a very short amount of time. It looks great already. Is that red on the claws too?
left. Yeah.
I like that. I like the way that blended in too. It's kind of like I don't know. It looks very crab-like. Good job.
Thank you. See, that's the importance of looking at references. That's what Pinterest is for. Although they will try to sell you all sorts of garbage you don't need.
Like a wet palette.
No, like you search for crabs, they'll give you crab cookbooks, southern food cookbooks, just anything you can think of.
So you're thinking
It's
about doing a
somehow
wash next on that? What kind of wash would you do on that?
I'm just gonna go for the classic Agrex Earthshade.
Okay, so brown wash. I like that.
Yep. Just because it's has a little color to it, it's kind of dirty.
Nice.
He might benefit from actually like multiple color washes in different areas, but that can be a little tricky.
Well, because how much washes run too.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep them in a particular area. I have that same problem when I do contrast paint sometimes, where it'll run into a different spot.
Sometimes you can start with one, and then once it's dry, you can do others in different areas. There's another interesting technique that you can do with washes that, I mean, I have varying success with this, which is to say it doesn't always work, but you start by getting a large area of the mini wet, and then you blend so that when at the area where you don't want that color wash, it's touching water, so it like transitions smoothly and
I
kind
never would
of
have thought of
pulls
that.
it into that area, but it doesn't. Sometimes it's still because the problem with washes is always if they don't go on quite evenly, and you get like splotching, you get like rings. It can be really bad, really unattractive.
Fair.
So especially if you just want one area to be washed, it will often leave a pretty strong line.
There you go.
And so that little bit of water can help that. All right. I guess we can put him on here. If a little bit of a wash falls off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now the weird thing is GW changed their formula for the Agrex fairly recently, and now it always ends up pretty glossy, which kind of bothers me. You can get rid of a lot of it with a nice matte finish, but it covers really well. And they seem to, I don't know, it seems a little closer to a contrast paint now, but it always goes on smoothly. The sort of ringing stuff I was talking about, you just don't see as much as you used to, and the drawback is it's very glossy. It shines very, shines a lot. So you're gonna have to probably hit it with a matte varnish to finish it off. I'm trying to find another cool crab image on Pinterest that's different, so we can do another one. So we have a bunch here. Hopefully Eric won't begrudge having to paint an extra one out. Hunter, can you think of some crazy crab color scheme
Crab
that we could do? Yeah.
for.
I'm looking at a stone crab. I literally can't get just a picture of the actual critter. It's all food. It's all
Turns
food.
out when the thing you want.
Yeah. Maybe I should just look for colorful crab.
I did crab in the wild. We did. Oh, there's this one with pink legs and like an orange body. What is this one called?
Oh, I see. There's one of these.
There's a lot of orange. I think the thing that it's interesting to me that everyone goes with red, but it's really more like a pale orange color.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these are pale orange. I found one that's your blue crab, which looks cool.
Cool.
Someone says, "How about Mr. Crab from SpongeBob?"
Oh
Isn't
no.
he just? I mean, he's just red though. I mean, Mr.
Yeah.
Crab is cool, but
He's cool.
I don't know if he's gonna make for quite as an exciting of a paint job.
He's
So-
very red.
I'm finding quite a few purple crabs, which is weird.
Do a purple one. Try it out.
Yeah, I guess I
Do
can
it.
do a purple
Gotta
one.
make a decision.
I do have to make a decision.
Do one of them.
Because we're live. We're live.
You can do a
man,
zebra
we're
crab.
live. Yeah, I guess
Just paint
and
it like
that's
a
another
zebra.
thing you can do. You don't need to do like a specific crab. You can just do whatever crazy nonsense your brain comes up with. Someone might try to stop you, but I won't. I'll let you do it.
There will be consequences, but not from bed.
Who's going to happen? The crab police going to show up?
I am the crab police.
Yeah, that's my point. Is if someone you know is the crab police, they might try to stop you.
So now you're getting your paint ready for the next one. There, I'm sure you'll love to hear this. There's another paint range hitting the market
Okay.
because you needed more paint to choose from. I know some people may be aware of him, but Duncan Rhodes
Oh yeah.
used to do videos like this where he taught you how to paint. And he now does them. He used to do them for Games Workshop. Now he does them for himself. The Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and he kickstarted a line of paints called Too Thin Coats, and it got picked up by Asmodee. They announced that at
Oh.
Gamma, so there's going to be a new paint line. And since it's picked up by a pretty large company, it's probably going to be available in a variety of game stores. So you might actually see that at your local game store.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what we might get from that. For sure. Hunter, you creeping closer? What's going on? What are you
Fixing
doing?
something.
Hi. Oh, what's the matter? Something wrong?
No, you're good.
I'm good. Okay.
It's
As long as
nothing
I'm
you did. It was just something from earlier. You're all good.
It's all good.
in the neighborhood.
How you liking that new tabletop, by the way? You haven't actually. This is the first time you've actually worked on it.
It is. It seems super cool for games. For painting, it doesn't really
Do much for you.
add anything.
That's fair.
Sorry, I don't mean to sound crazy.
No, you're
It's
fine.
It's like
I was curious because I haven't painted on it yet either because I haven't done any of. We haven't done any hobby streams since then. I was making sure it wasn't like too high for you or something like that. I thought it actually.
Not getting in the way, is it?
Yeah.
no, not really.
For me, I think it'll actually help me because I like having my It'll be nice to have my arms elevated above that.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it, but the I paint in literally the way that they would tell you you should not paint it. I'm always like fully hunched forward, like painting down something like in between my knees. So honestly, this
yeah.
is probably better on my spine.
Well,
But it's not what I'm used to.
there was some group at Epticon called like the it was like the something neck gamers. It was like it was essentially like
stiff
neck
neck
injury
gamers?
gamers because it was called stiff neck guild or stiff neck gamers or something like that. And it was like a painting group, but they were named after hurting their necks.
It's a thing.
That's relatable.
I do get neck pain. I actually, my neck is actually bugging me a bit today and has been for most of the week, but it's not from painting. It's because I slipped on it weird. And it's not fun. I don't like it. But it's tolerable. I don't know. Maybe if I didn't paint, this wouldn't happen because it's something that tends to happen, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year. I get about a week of nasty neck pain that I hate.
Yeah, I'm assuming once I hit your age.
Hey.
Hey, oh. I mean, it's happening. I'm not as far away as I sound.
No, I know. You're no spring chicken,
Yeah.
as they say.
No, I'm not. I learned by doing 2 conventions in 2 weeks that I am not. I am exhausted. I'm still exhausted.
Yeah, I had to slow down on painting because I kept getting hand cramps.
Oh yeah, I'll get
Going
those.
for
I have
too
to.
long.
I have to go for a while to get those. Fortunately, but yeah, that would suck. I would hate to have to quit because of bad hand cramps.
I mean, I was doing like batch painting, like 20 or 30 models at a time, and just not stopping. So
yeah, whenever
serves
we
me
have
right.
like a big painting job here, where I need to paint like, like 7 or 8 cars for Car Wars in a week, or when all the Ogre minis came in, and it was like get all these done. That's when my hands will really start to bother me when I'm doing like multiple sessions in a row of 8 hours or more a day.
Nice. I'm
And
glad it
then
doesn't.
usually by the second or third day, it'll start to get pretty bad. Well, I ended up going with more red than purple, really.
You went
But
with Mr. Krabs.
hey, God, so I hadn't even thought about this. Nothing to do with painting, but my parents were over this weekend, and I was talking about putting on some cartoon in the background because we have a little kid. I don't even think he could watch it. And they're like, why not SpongeBob? We love SpongeBob. It was just the weirdest, most surreal thing. Because my parents are old. I'm old. My parents are older. They're in their
I was gonna
70s.
say you're not even the SpongeBob generation, right?
I'm not. I'm a little too old to be in the
I
SpongeBob
was
generation.
about half in, half out. Like it was coming on, and I was like at that age where I was like not really Nickelodeon kid.
To
And
me,
you're a little bit
SpongeBob
older.
is just a meme.
Exactly.
Like it came out way after.
Exactly. So that's interesting that your parents would be like, because if you're not watching it, how did your parents get into SpongeBob?
Oh no, it wasn't SpongeBob. We were just looking for something to watch, and I was like, Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers is
Oh,
great. And they're
that
like,
makes
we
more
don't
sense.
like Bob's Burgers. How
Oh.
about SpongeBob?
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
So it
That's
was
even
SpongeBob.
weirder.
Because at least Bob's Burgers aimed at their demographic to a
Right.
degree.
Yeah, I was the one. They were definitely the SpongeBob. I was the one who mentioned Bob's Burgers. But yeah, somehow, my parents without cable, I think they said they live in Houston, and Houston is one of those cities that's a big enough city that it just has random weird channels that are like independent.
Well, it's
and
like
only
Austin.
exist in that city.
You
and
can do
apparently
an
one of those
antenna.
Public
just streams
access.
SpongeBob. Well, it's not public access, but they have multiple channels in Houston that are just rerun channels. There's like a channel that just seems to play SG1 and Next Generation just like all day, which is not a bad channel, honestly.
Do they have a
That's a
smart
lot.
TV? Because there's a lot of smart TV channels like that. Where it's like
No,
all they
I
do
think
is
to
play
stream-
Star Trek or
I think to stream,
Baywatch or something.
my mom has to plug her laptop into it because it is not a smart TV. But yeah, that cracked me up somehow.
That is so
they
weird.
like developed a love for SpongeBob.
That's
Yep. So I've done like everything but the head. What color should the head be? It's always upside down.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot of red, purple,
Okay, it
and
must be that.
that crabby white belly. Should he have a red head or just a black head?
Redhead,
Red head?
because it'll show up better.
Yeah.
Blackhead's boring. Nice try.
Give him a bright yellow head.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is the other option. He could have a blue head. Did I just knock his eyeball off? Or had it already fallen
There's some
off?
fine
He's missing
details,
an
and the
eye.
eyes
He's
have
a
been
pirate.
the eyes have been detaching sometimes.
Yeah, he lost it in battle with another crab. And just like that other crab, like ripped it right off.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
But he still won.
He's a
You
pirate.
should see the other guy. It's one of those stories.
They're just a bunch of pirate crabs.
Yep.
Give him an eye patch.
Give him a cannon.
Give him a cannon. There it is.
I think insetting crabmen, I don't think they're intelligent, but we could pretend that they are. In fact, I think a lot of people eat them. Because they're just big crabs.
Tell me they're
Just
not.
big, tasty
They don't
crabs.
sail around on boats. Giant clam ships.
No, I think they just do crab stuff. They emerge from water. They forage. They scavenge.
They all
And then
sound
they
like
attack
soy bird.
adventurers because adventurers could be an easy meal. They don't know. They're just crab people. They're not. They can't tell a meal from an adventurer in armor or a wizard.
Well, that's neat. What color is that on the abdomen?
That is P3 sickly skin, which is like a super pale green, and just some white to bring it out even more. All right, maybe mix in some troll blood base here. It's a nice kind of turquoise. Well, it's kind of a subdued turquoise blue, so maybe we can mix some of that with some purple for some highlights. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along today. This is 100% crab painting is a 100% new experience for me. I could see a whole unit of these looking really cool in Kings of War. If there are any Kings of War players out there. Oh no! I accidentally hit a wet spot and dragged some red paint where I didn't want it to go. There's a fun trick though. You can a wet paintbrush with just water can also be an eraser.
Hey, I
if you
said
get
that
there
too.
fast enough.
Yeah. I used that earlier today when I messed up with the
Yeah, we were talking
bone
about
color.
that.
But unfortunately, that means that you can't paint that spot for a little while because it's all wet
Mm-hmm.
and the paint will run. Maybe chips
But
of
boy,
these
I've tried.
claws. I don't know what other. I guess every game kind of has some kind of cool. Could be in a water army or creature. I'm less of a RPG person than a minis game person, so I don't know what other settings feature prominent.
There was
crabmen.
in miniatures games. There was that one faction in Wrath of Kings.
Oh yeah, the
That was
Hadros.
all. That was all like shelled creatures, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I know Relic Blades has a underwater faction. If you're into like little skirmishy games, I'm a big fan of that stuff. I almost walked away with all those minis too when I set it up to con.
Really?
Yeah, just the underwater stuff because I was really into it. The little underwater goblins, and there's a
Is that what
shark
you sent
dude.
me pictures of? I thought that was Free Blades.
Nope, that was Relic Blade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're little. Have you ever seen the Transformers movie, 1986? The Transformers.
I'm pretty sure I saw that in
Yes.
the theater, dude.
Yeah, you know the little Sharkticons?
They look like those.
They remind me a
Yeah.
lot of those. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from them.
Nice.
Still the coolest Transformers theme song that they did. Was
Yeah.
for that movie.
By Lion, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, if I recall, that was a traumatic movie experience.
That was them saying
Very few children were
Here's-
prepared to handle that
Well,
when they walked into that movie.
they wrote a
theater.
movie and then the toy company was like, here's a list of all the things we need to die
So we can sell more toys.
so we can sell
Yeah.
toys, and here's the ones we need to introduce. So there's this guy named Optimus Prime 2, but his real name's Ultra Magnus.
And that was the Unsolved Mystery guy doing the voice for him, right?
Yeah, Robert Stack.
Robert Stack.
And sorry, we're in Transformers talk for a moment, folks. That was the reason why the G.I. Joe movie didn't kill off Duke, because they were going to do the exact same thing. They killed Duke. He had a snake go through his chest, and then like off camera in the last scene of the movie, they're like, "And Duke's okay." Yeah, they just added in a line that was like, "And Duke pulled through." They were going to kill him off. He was like in a coma the whole movie, and then they were just like,
It was touch and go, guys.
it was touch and go, but we got him. And I'm
Pulled
like,
through,
really?
everyone.
You survived a snake going through his heart? That seems like a really tough thing to live through.
They got that Joe medical tech. It's all good.
Yeah, Lifeline and Doc on point.
Or maybe he just had the Car Wars Gold membership.
Hey, that's true.
It's just a clone. We think it's Duke, but it's just a clone of Duke with his
Duke
memories.
2.
It's not the
Oh,
same.
he's an auto duelist. They have the cool cars to do it. I'd love to see a Hiss tank go up against a Jackal or something from our game. It'd be fun.
And I guess another crab-related thing we could discuss. Anybody have any good crab recipes? if you defeated a crabman in combat and you were hungry, how would you cook him?
I think it's got to be something.
You need a really big pot, man. That's what I think.
Well, there you go. So you're gonna go with boiling. You could
See,
also
no.
steam him.
I'm a big fan of crab cakes, man.
Oh yeah.
Crab cakes are
Think
like,
of how many crab cakes you could make from one of these
yeah,
guys.
sure.
These claws are like bigger than a human's torso. That's just so much crab meat.
And usually crab cakes are too expensive, but with this guy, the price per pound's got to be down because of how big he is.
Yeah. There's another crab entity in the fantasy trip, the Snot Crab.
I don't want to eat that
That
one.
I don't know. No, they're supposed to be quite tasty, despite the name. They don't taste like snot. They don't like bleed snot. They spit snot at their foes.
I
And
see.
then they stick you. So that's you stick in place. So that was that's a fun one from one of the hexagrams where
Ooh.
we have the way that you hunt the snot crab is you just go fully nude and you oil yourself up. This is not, I'm not just making this up. This is in a hexagram. So we have one of the hexagrams, like 7 or something, with oily naked people as some of the art.
Okay.
They're hunting snot crabs. I think that made it in. Maybe that art didn't make it.
Ben is just making in
No,
stuff.
you go find it. Hexagram 7.
Hexagram 7, folks.
Yep.
There's another reason.
I think I could get the issue numbers wrong. We've done 9.
Well, you should buy
They're all
Hexagram
at
7
the point.
anyway.
Yeah.
It'll be like a scavenger hunt, and then if it's not in there, you can tell me what issue it actually is in.
Yep.
Where's naked hunting snot crab? Where does that come from?
Chat proposes a
good.
7-layer crab cake with butter icing.
Ooh.
That
Yeah.
sounds pretty
Clarified
good.
butter?
Yeah, definitely.
That tastes good.
Definitely. Red Lobster would
Got some
love
green
hunting crab,
onions.
man. That's what I think.
Red Lobster.
All right, he needs a dry.
No,
a little bit.
they'd-
He's
Red-
gonna need a wash too. Let's
See, here's the
check
thing,
on our
Red
other
Lo-
one that we put in the oven 20 minutes ago.
Red Lobster would find a way to get a weird substitute crab man that isn't as good as a regular crab man. It would be like, you can come enjoy Langostina crab man feast.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, what's a Langostina lobster? I hadn't heard of this thing. And then you find out it's just a big prawn.
Yep.
Everything's
They've
just
been
a
using
big prawn.
snot crabs.
They've been using
No,
use
no,
snot
the
crabs,
snot
not
crabs.
crab
The
men.
snot
Not
crabs are
crab,
good.
man.
The snot crabs are good.
They're fine, but when you compare them to crabmen, Ben, I think it's just
all right. I can't deny. Snot crab is no substitute for crab man.
and if I'm paying crabman prices, I don't want
The
snot
long
crab. You're gonna charge me crabman prices and serve me snot crab? How dare you? In this economy, I refuse. Your hand is particularly colorful today.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Usually it's a little bit one note because it's like purple on purple on purple. This one's like got a lot of
And I
shades
think
going
you
on.
mean his
I
crab
get a little
claw.
bit
His
too
crab claw.
too
His crab
proud of
claw.
my ridiculous hand palette sometimes. Like when they're really rainbowed, I'm like, I should take a picture of that. That looks pretty cool.
Your art, you
like,
thought you were
nah.
painting minis
Yeah.
art, but you were actually creating art on your hand.
Yeah, and that's
It's
how
my
I,
new
like,
Instagram of abstract hand art.
Yep, and that's how I get like my followers over 2,000. It's like
Handy bin.
yeah, just stop painting minis and just do hand portraits. That's what they really want these days.
Just an account called Ben's Hands.
Just have TikTok videos that are just like 20 still seconds.
Yeah.
My hand covered in paint. Genius. We love it.
Just gotta turn them all into NFTs.
Right. That's the other thing. Everybody who knows that I do some kind of like who doesn't know me very well but knows that I do some kind of graphic design stuff for a living has told me I should do NFTs. And I'm like, maybe I should do NFTs.
No.
But you see, I don't know, you probably don't do as many work-related image searches as I do, but if I need like an image reference, much like the crab I was looking for earlier, I find NFTs all the time.
Oh no,
It'll just be like a picture, the picture that you wanted, and you're looking at it, it's like, this is available as an NFT. Oh, well, all right then.
And the funny thing is, you're seeing the NFT, which means that you have access to the NFT.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't own it, Hunter.
Sorry, it's
Right.
not fungible.
Someone else
It's not
owns it.
your NFT.
It's not fungible.
But you could own it.
Right.
I'm gonna funge those tokens so hard.
Just don't do anything I wouldn't do.
You wouldn't download an NFT. Yes, I would.
Literally, that's what you need to do.
You wouldn't print a crab, man. It's just every time I see it, it's the you wouldn't download a car or whatever that the old don't pirate
You
ad
wouldn't
was.
download a car, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
yeah.
that
I
font.
think everybody would if they had the choice.
I need to find the font generator for that and just do like stuff for TFT minis. Like you wouldn't download a crab. It has Ben's Crabman.
Literally, has anyone ever seen Star Trek? They're literally downloading stuff all the time.
Yeah, I've seen entire episodes where they downloaded how like Sherlock Holmes mysteries and
Oh,
played
yeah.
it out. It's the whole point. They download
And
their
you
bodies
see, you
every
saw
time.
how badly that ended. Dr. Moriarty almost he almost destroyed all of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. It is a cautionary tale. You just thought it was all a big joke.
They really showed you with that bottle episode. They did it.
All right, so now I'm kind of trying to go do some lining. He's not quite as saturated as I would have liked, which is, of course, a consequence of the wash. But it does add that quick shading that is cool.
It's interesting to see
That
how
you
you hold
like.
your brush for certain elements too.
Well, yeah, when I'm doing, this is edge lining what I'm doing. So yeah, whenever you do that, you want to try to get the side of the brush.
No, for sure. It's actually that was not sarcastic. Sorry, I know I sound sarcastic sometimes. I was
Nope,
legitimately
I
interested.
did not think you sounded sarcastic.
Just making sure. I'm legitimately interested because whenever I'm watching like people watching at home, I actually learn something every time you do stuff. So it's interesting to me. Like how to drop a crab,
Yeah, how to fling a Car Wars mini across the room.
how to throw a car. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep.
You're never gonna leave that down now because you just brought it
Yeah, I
back
just
up.
reminded you. I should just let it die.
Ben does amazing painting. Well,
That
there
was
you
right
go.
Before Gen Con?
That
Right
was a
before-
comment. You got one that says
Oh, thank you.
Ben does amazing painting. We also had Crabman might want to ask adventurers and plate for a date. Are you going to put a flat finish on it?
Yeah, if I do end up doing a varnish, it'll definitely be a matte varnish.
Yeah, I generally do matte varnishes now too.
Of course, he is a crab. You could go super glossy and say, hey, he's all wet. Or,
You could do slimy stuff on them too.
yeah, you could try for something like that.
Those effect paints. I know Citadel stuff's expensive, but they have that Nurgle rot paint that's kind of ends up shiny, gooey type thing.
I've never tried that, but no, I don't really paint much goo though.
Yeah, it's not super common. I have it for my Death Guard army.
Did you ever actually paint any of them?
Mhm.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I painted 10 Poxwalkers and 5 Plague Marines.
Oh, I thought you put it together and then never got
I
back to it.
did, and then I stopped because they ruined my list. So that's why I moved to Grey Knights.
Oh, so salty.
So I'm putting
Stop being such a meta chaser, Hunter.
It is less that, it's more just it would have been almost unplayable the way I want. I need to take time to reformulate the list before.
So wait a couple years and it'll be good again.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's not even.
Course,
It's
by
not
then all
about
the
it
minis
being.
might
It's
be
not about being
resculpted.
good or bad. It's about I need to when I do army painting. So this is coming from someone who isn't like Ben, who can just like whip out and paint something. For me, I have to have a goal in mind, and for me, it's like this is my list that I'm aiming for, and I'm going to try to paint this in a reasonable amount of time and finish it. And that's what I was doing for Death Guard, and then they changed some points, and it made that list invalidated. So I have to remake my list, and I haven't had time to do it.
Yeah, but
So
that's not cool.
I have to change the units and change a few things, and pretty much if I don't have an end goal in mind, I'm not going to keep painting it, or because then I'll just feel like I'm spinning my wheels.
Yeah. I don't know. I usually start with a single list, but it can change a million times even before I'm done.
Things will change, but this was a core. This was a very core change because I was running 100 Poxwalkers, and they all got bumped by 1 point. So
Yikes.
then that's an extra 100 points in the list, not counting the other stuff that got bumped. So then I have to like completely reformulate stuff.
Can't you just take a few less?
It changes the way the list works, though. So it makes it just like not really super playable in the way I was taking it. I could definitely play. Death Guard aren't unplayable or anything like that. Sorry, we're on a weird side tangent, but they're not like unplayable or anything. It's just that that particular list I had became unplayable. So I have to make a new list, figure out what the new list is, and again I have to have that aim. Like even when I did Necrons, I had a goal in mind.
Well, and there's also just some merit to just having a cool collection.
Yeah, no, there is. I just don't have that same drive.
Because you definitely have cool looking armies when you're done. I think a lot of people are jealous of what you get.
How do you
A lot of that is 'cause it's
store all
it's
the stuff you
consistent.
make, Ben?
Whew. Well, I have a pretty large case in my bedroom that most of it lives in.
It's like a foam case.
I actually recently, so the my man cave or whatever you want to call it recently became the kids' room. So all of that I had to figure out what I wanted to stay in the display case and what had to get put in boxes and like put away. So that was kind of a bummer. So a lot of minis I painted are now out of sight because even for a while, even if I wasn't playing with them, I was like, well, I can go check them out. And
That's a
now,
crime. Your minis are too well painted to not be in
why?
sight.
Thank you. So you just need to pay for an addition to my house. So
If I can live there, then I'm in.
so I can put them all. I can have an extra room to display them. That's basically what.
Yeah,
I
it
need
is
right
tough.
now.
I've got a bookshelf, like one of those cheap bookshelves from Target, and my plan was I was going to get more shelves for it. They don't really make extra shelves, so I was just going to buy another bookshelf and steal the shelves out of it. And out of nowhere, they discontinued the bookshelf, so I don't have any more shelves to add to it. I don't want to
That's
make
weird.
my own. It's just very weird.
It is kind of weird. It is.
So I can't match the finish on it, but just odd.
Might have been too expensive for them to keep making. I don't know. Who knows?
It's a $35 bookshelf. No way.
Right, but maybe they couldn't continue making it for
They-
that
I think
low
they
of a
replaced
price.
it
Probably
with a
just
different
made a whole bunch all in one batch, and then that's it. They're sold out now.
It was a store brand of theirs. I think what happened is they upscaled their store brand, so now they have other stuff. They're doing a lot more Kallax style stuff for like IKEA's square shelves.
Mm.
They're doing more of that stuff, but in Target. So we'll see. I'll probably end up wholesale replacing that shelf with something a little bit nicer, ultimately.
I didn't know you could get a bookshelf, like a bookshelf, for $35. I thought you had
I
to
think
get
it was
the
like
cheap Home
it was
Depot
like
shelves.
40 or something like that maybe, but it was cheap. Very affordable. I have a Detolf from IKEA that I put some minis in. But I actually don't like the Detolf that much. There's a better case that they make that's got more of a frame to it. I actually saw it at the Steamforged Games booth when I was at Gamma and at Adepticon.
It was an
one I picked up.
IKEA case.
Yeah, it's an IKEA case.
You know the name?
I forgot it, but I could easily find it. I just don't know the name offhand. It's got like a metal frame and it's still a glass case, but then there's also a there's a non glass encased shelf at the bottom, so nice spot for like books and stuff like that.
I actually think what we used to use for SJGames conventions a certain IKEA case with glass and like a metal sort of frame shell almost. But we had to stop because those things they were so difficult to put together. And if something got like just natural warping, getting moved around and bumped, just meant that eventually they just reached a point after
Conventions are tough to
10
build
cons.
for.
They're just literally impossible to reassemble, like all of them. A couple just got hard knocks in shipping, and they were just like immediately out. But they all succumbed eventually, and we're like, okay, so we can either stop using these or we can rebuy every 6 months. And that's part of the reason why we just use the con shelves whenever we can now. All right, I think he's looking pretty good. This guy's definitely good for tabletop now. I don't think he's gonna get shown off with any of that golden demon
So that's
stuff.
that's your golden demon this year.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put them in, lead them back. So put the base on the turntable first, and then try to like snug them in there.
But then it's like rotating, man. How am I supposed to rotate? Am I that coordinated?
Yeah,
Oh
there you
wow,
go.
look at
See?
that. He did it.
He is that coordinated, folks. Look at that. It's looking good. Oh, he's gonna mess it up, guys.
I did it. Yep, I screwed it up. All right.
I knew it was
got
gonna
greedy.
happen.
I got greedy.
You just couldn't leave well enough alone.
No.
Now it's never gonna stand ever again. Ben had it. He had it,
Such a
folks.
downer, Hunter.
I am.
Yeah, see, you just have to believe.
Okay.
He's still off center, but this time I know better than to mess with it.
It looks great.
We're gonna,
That's like the more. This is our golf crab buddy. This is the.
He's a little camera shy. He doesn't like being talked about. Like he's
Crab
not in the room.
malfunction.
He's beautiful. And that dude's gonna win an award one day,
And
Ben.
if you guys want to put little knives in the claws of your crabs,
It's illegal, but you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's happening, Ben.
I mean, Hunter, maybe you just need to write like a set of rules for just like a crab fighting ring.
The knife man. Oh, it's like that. It's like the old picture of the crab that's holding the like steak knife or whatever.
Yeah.
That's him. You can do that. And if you come to FnordCon, you can do that. You can make that happen. You can live your best
You can
life.
jam that. You can bring a little knife from some other mini and jam it into.
You
a
could
claw.
do it. We won't stop you.
I mean,
Nope.
if Adventure
Unless
is
it's
constantly trying
We're
to...
not letting the crab police into FnordCon. We're just not. That's not very Fnord at all.
They're
will
constantly
not be
being
allowed.
hunted for red lobster, then I'm sure they would have access to all kinds of knives from the bad adventurers
True.
who didn't make it past the crabmen.
Yeah.
And then Ben's working on the more reddish one here.
Yeah, I'm giving him a wash too.
The aforementioned Mr. Krabs. Because Ben is a huge fan of SpongeBob, as it runs in his family.
Yep.
His parents couldn't get him to stop loving SpongeBob.
Nope.
And why would they?
They're
They
trying
love
to
it
talk.
too.
Why don't you watch DuckTales anymore? Mom, that was the 80s. It's been
Did they-
20 years.
Did they actually say it is? I've got bad news. It has been 40 years.
Yeah, but it was like 20 years before when SpongeBob first came out.
Oh,
right?
that
was the point I was trying to make.
I
know
get-
that
I
I know
get
the
you.
80s was 40 years ago.
I get you. Okay, I was making sure because I've
But yeah,
had
DuckTales was like
people like
35 years ago. I think.
well there's the thought. It's like, when did the Super Nintendo come out? It was not 20 years ago.
I was in high school, so it was it was 30 years ago.
pretty much
I think
I can remember renting the
Super Nintendo was like
93.
just to play
93?
Zelda.
93, 94 in that
I
range.
thought it was like
Zelda.
89. I thought the
No,
PS1
no,
was
no.
out by like 90.
No, the Genesis came out in 89.
Oh, okay. And it took that many more years for the Super Nintendo to.
It was 92 or 93, I think.
All right, maybe
Definitely
we should try
early
this
90s.
fellow on the.
It was the early 90s. I think it might have been
Turntable.
92 then.
See, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I should have
Oh,
gone back
so this
to
is the other one.
this crab a little quicker. Now, will this crab stand up? This one might not.
That one may not
want
stand up
to.
on its own. Folks, these are not supposed to stand up on their own. I'm giving Ben a hard time, but these are actually just
Look
like
at that.
slotted bases. You're supposed to glue them in there. There you go.
The purple's not really
It's
showing
meant
up.
so you
It might be
glue
the
them
lights.
to
Yeah,
the base.
that's exactly it. So it's not a crab malfunction for them to be falling over when Ben tries to have them balanced.
You know, it kind of looks like Lobstercules from the new Tick show.
This is like a character from
Am I the only one who watched that?
Street Sharks for me. Street Sharks. Slobster, if anyone ever...
There was this lobster?
Yeah,
That was another one I was a little too old for.
Oh, I hate that. But yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. Maybe it was good.
It was better than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was...
That was actually a really bad show.
Anthropomorphic sharks.
Wait, we don't want to
versus
actually. How
turtles.
many? I wonder how many viewers I just.
The TFT. I mean, TFT
alienated.
was a bad show. As much as we love turtles around here, it's the same thing. If you go back and actually watch He-Man, it's unwatchable. You can't watch it.
Someone's asking, what did these minis go with? They go with the
They go with the fantasy trip.
Yep.
You can use them for anything though. They're made for the fantasy trip, but they are technically like good for any old school RPG or any RPG in general. We were mentioning that before.
I
You
mean,
can use
think
them with
of all the times you've been fighting a giant anthropomorphic crab monster, and you've gone like, but where? Where is the mini for that? Here's the mini.
and it's coming for free with your FnordCon swag bag. So
Right.
there you go.
And I mean, I have to assume these are going to be some kind of STL you can buy.
I don't know if
eventually.
you're going to be able to buy it eventually. We're going to find out. I
Wait,
don't.
so
I,
these might only
Pretty
be
sure we were
for your
giving this away
FnordCon
for
swag?
free for a while, but I don't see it on the
Oh, the
store
file?
anymore. Yeah, we were giving the. It
I
was a
don't know.
free-
I don't know if it's the same one though, because
I don't-
we
I mean,
some
reposted
sort
it.
of crab.
We've
Yeah.
reposed some of the
Excuse me.
minis to make new poses for them. So yeah, that'll be your FnordCon. If you're interested in FnordCon, definitely check it out. Sign up. That's happening April 29th through May 1st. Ben will be there. He will be probably painting, doing some painting stuff with us. Yeah, that's our crabman. Let's cut to Ben so he can at least say his goodbye as well. But yeah, we're check out FnordCon. Sign ups below. Ben, thanks for joining us. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, this is a
Hopefully
blast.
you learned a lot of stuff. Hopefully I haven't gotten you too hungry for a crab dinner tonight.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be really
Yeah,
hungry
go
for
eat
crab.
some seafood, man.
It's not
Just go
coming, though.
for it.
Yeah, I guess I could. I could just go to Red Lobster
Yeah,
and do it. Why not? Get
Mhm.
your Langostino crab, Ben.
right. Or just Joe's Crab Shack still a thing? Does
Maybe.
that still exist? Or Eat at Joe's?
Somewhere.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us for our
Yep,
Crabman
thank you.
special. We'll be back with Ben probably next month with some more hobby time. And if you're interested, swing by FnordCon. Ben will be there doing some painting there as well, and do a paint and tank with us. You know, we'll have a lot of mini stuff going on.
Are you going to be signing hands at FnordCon?
You should.
If anybody really wants.
If anyone wants their hand signed, Ben will do it right where he does his wet palette.
Make sure you bring your hands to FnordCon with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Don't leave them at home.
Don't let him know.
You will regret it.
Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next week on SJGames Live.
Yep. Thank you.